So I think for us, automation and AI and all of those things are critical because you have so much data today. There's so much data that is useful to drive insights and then actions from that data, right? And to drive actions from the data, you need power, you need analytics, you need automation, right? All of that is behind the scenes, but the purpose of it is you give more time to people to focus on their strategy, to focus on how do we work with the teams, integrate the different disciplines to really drive right performance for the hotels.
All right, we are back again for another episode of Hospitable. I am your host, Rob Napoli, and today is really exciting because we are at ITB. We are at our booth. We got activity around us, and here we are recording a podcast. Olga, I'm excited to have you on. How's ITB been for you so far? We're day two.
Day two.
How was day one and day two so far? How's it been?
I was telling today, I love ITB. People
This
look
your
at me
first
like
time?
big eyes. No. This is my 7th time. People like me like big eyes. I love the energy. It goes fast. You go from one conversation to another. There's a buzz around. There's nothing like ITB. It's big. It's just fabulous. So I practically love it. And I have meetings to meetings to meetings to meetings. And I love it.
I love it as well. This is my first time at ITB. So, and I've been to like Web Summit and I've spoken at some bigger events and things, but I didn't realize how big and how much energy is here. And it's been amazing. So, Olga, I appreciate coming in. So you are director of global alliances at Ideas. Talk to me a little about what do you do? What is Ideas and what do you do as a global alliance director?
So let's start with Ideas. Ideas is the leader in revenue management. Ideas has been around for over 30 years and really started this discipline. Makes a huge impact for all the hoteliers and the clients that use our system, because with our systems, they increase their revenue, their profitability, and it really drives performance for the hotelier. So that's an amazing system that we have. To that system to work well, we need also data from other systems, but we also send data back to those systems because everything is about automation. Everything is about how do we empower the hoteliers to be defined strategy, while the systems can do right and deliver the pricing based on the strategy that they design, and the hotelier doesn't have to do a lot of manual tasks. So for that to work well, automation is critical.
Yeah.
And data-driven decisions, right? We do decisions, we deliver them to all of the systems. We do billions of decisions every day. So for us, making sure that there's a good connection and everything works well with our partners is critical. So that's where I come in. Our team looks after the partnerships with our technology partners, and we make sure that we are well connected, we work well, and we continually increase the ecosystem in this industry. And the other thing that's important for me is we can innovate with other partners.
Yeah.
Any innovation requires all of us to work together. And for me, the exciting piece sometimes is driving innovation and moving forward with all of our partners.
You know, I love that you share that because I think automation is a term that's used a lot, you know, and we talk about it a lot, but what is automation and how does everyone automate it? And we talk about the whole theory of this podcast is how to make hospitality more human through technology.
Yes.
And I love when we get into that because it's sometimes scary because we're like, oh, AI and automation is going to take all our jobs away. No, the goal behind automation is not to replace something. It's to speed up something so you can creatively think and work on bigger solutions.
Absolutely.
And solve bigger problems, hence the partnership approach and some of the stuff that we're working on, right? And I think that to me is the most really amazing things because when we think about guest experience, whether you're going to a hotel for business, for pleasure, for a little bit of both, you're booking a hotel with an experience in mind. So how do we allow the hotel staff to give the best experience or the experience the user wants? Maybe they want to go to an all automated hotel and want no interaction. They can still have that. And I think that's really important. How do we give them the best experience? And one of the things I noticed about this ITB is it being here and talking to everybody is just how fast the market is innovating to really create seamless experiences behind the scenes so that on the front end, the customer has the best experience. And it's just been a bolt of energy here the last 2 days.
Absolutely. And you're right. It's behind the scenes, right? So I think for us, automation and AI and all of those things are critical because you have so much data today. There's so much data that is useful to drive insights and then actions from that data, right? And to drive actions from the data, you need power, you need analytics, you need automation, right? All of that is behind the scenes, but the purpose of it is you give more time to people to really focus on, it's for the revenue managers or the commercial leaders, is really to focus on their strategy, to focus on how do we work with the teams, integrate the different disciplines to really drive right performance for the hotels. When it's in front, that gives more time for people to welcome the guests wherever they are, right? So we're seeing more and more about having a tablet. You welcome a guest with a tablet wherever they walk into your hotel, and then you allow for that. So it's really giving more time to the people that are there for the guests and with the guests, or that in the behind the scenes empower the guests to deliver the right experience. So that's really where we see it. It's really, we always say it's people with the system and the processes, right?
Yeah.
So you have a system, automated, fully functional, but it has to work well with the people and it has to work well with the processes. The three pieces have to be there to really deliver the experience we want to deliver for guests.
I love that. I mean, the triangle effect of people, process, and systems. And, I resonate talking about giving time back. One of our missions is to give humans time back to be more creative by automating the mundane, manual, repetitive tasks. And I think of time not as linear, but like that creativity to be a solutions-oriented, problem-solving. And to me, it's amazing. And so I love it. And, my wife is actually an interior designer. And so she works for a Thai design company. And one of the things that they did with some of the recent properties, when you go to the front desk, they hide all the tech. So you don't actually see it. So you have that face-to-face. They have the computer, they have the tablets, they have what they need, but you don't see it as the consumer. So you feel like you're being greeted. It's such a really cool experience. To when tech works with the process of people. I love that. I resonate with it so much.
It's really good. It's interesting you say that. I remember going, I think it was last year, to a hotel, and I walked in and I was looking for the desk. There was no desk. They were like welcoming you in a different way. But I was so used to looking for, what I was looking for it. And then I realized someone came to me and welcomed me. It's like, oh, new world. This is great.
It is great. It's such a unique experience. And I think I resonate with that whole thing, because I want, and I love that customer experience. I mean, I love when I travel, I'm kind of bougie a little bit. Like I like to feel treated. And when I travel, I want it to be done for me. I want it to be easy. I want it to be seamless. I don't want it to be complicated. And sometimes in the old days, it was very complicated. You wait in the check-in line, and it feels like it's moving so much faster. And some of the stuff I've been seeing here, walking around these halls, is just absolutely amazing.
Absolutely.
So I want to get into something with you, because when you and I met for the first time and we're talking, Ideas was your first time in the hospitality space. And for me, Omnibus was the first time. How did you fall into this hospitality space, and what's kept you in this space?
So really by chance, I was just looking for an opportunity, and I did the old-fashioned way, I applied for a job. I just had an opening, I applied for it, and then I got obviously hired to work with Ideas and Ideas, and that's been great. And I've been with Ideas for the last 7 years, and I truly love it. I think there's a couple of elements that why I'm still here. One is really Ideas. Yeah. It's a great company. It still has a very innovative, very creative, very driven company, and at the same time, you have a family feel to it.
Yeah.
It's no reason we've been here for 30 years, and people, I work with people that have been with the company for 30 years, right? Yeah. They're still here.
Yeah. And
then you have a lot of new people. So that mix of having a history, but at the same time, bringing in and continually innovating is really very special, I think, in the industry. And that's definitely kept me here. And then the other piece is the hospitality industry. There's quite unique. I think, I don't know what about you and what you think, but I think it's quite unique. There is something about, always, because I work with a lot of people that have worked in hotels, and they think about the guests first, and they look around and what would make a difference for that person. How can I give them just a seat so that way they're comfortable? There's really something about this industry that's quite endearing, and I think that's kept me.
Yeah, no, I resonate with that. I love the hospitality. And one of the reasons I really wanted to get into hospitality when the opportunity arose for me is that hospitality is all about people, and it's continuously changing. We saw over the last decade how that's changed through highs and lows, ups and downs, and all the stuff in between. People still want to go on vacation. They still want to do these things, but it looks differently, and it's always innovating and changing. And also, because hospitality is that, it's hospitable. it's people that care. And it's easy to say that, everyone's like that, but not every industry cares the way that you do it, because at the end of the day, hospitality only works with the customer experience.
Absolutely.
So we can do all this cool shit on the back end, we can create cool products, but if it doesn't help make the customers feel at home wherever they're going, or feel some kind of way, it doesn't matter. And so to me, that's what's so unique about this industry, is building those things and getting to be around those type of people, right? And so that's why I've stuck in hospitality. I was sucked in. It was just like, yes,
Yes.
these are my people type of thing, you know. And I love that family feel. It feels like that because, you know, so many, to be honest, so many founders that of companies that we work with and partner with started as independent hoteliers. They grew up in the hotel space and like, there's got to be a better way to do this. And that's where some of these really cool companies have been born out of. And I think that's what is so unique about this space and what makes the space so much fun.
That's very true. It's amazing how many founders, right, actually worked in hotels or travel, and then thought, oh, there has to be a better way of doing this. So let me do my part and start something, and that creates something very unique in the industry for sure.
100%. And you know, when we think about being in this industry and we love these things that we just shared, what is the impact that you really are trying to make? You've been with Ideas for 7 years. There's some big announcements that you've been making, and Ideas is growing. It's some really cool stuff happening, partnerships. I mean, we're doing stuff together. What is the impact that not only does Ideas want to make, but you as Olga really want to make, and your role and your piece of this puzzle?
So for me, really, when I started, it was all about the ecosystem, right? It's all about. It was really critical for me because we can't drive the guest experience like we want and be welcoming if we don't have all of our technologies that talk to each other, right? So for me, that was the first thing: is I want to make sure that we grow an ecosystem, that we collaborate, that we innovate together. And one of the first things that actually I was part of, and that we created when I joined, was to actually have, every time at ATB, every year, we have a partner breakfast where we just invite the partners to come and speak openly, right? It's just partners, it's just technology people in the room, and to talk about our challenges. What do we see? How can we work better together? How can we collaborate? How can we innovate? So that just is really an example of the impact I wanted to make, to actually have conversations between us, not just in our little companies and silos, but really together drive this industry forward and increase the connectivity and the ecosystem. So that really is the change. And that's also what Ideas wants to do, right? And Ideas has always been an innovator. And every time we innovate for the industry. We want to make sure the industry benefits from it, and we have our partners that innovate with us, right? You cannot innovate on in your corner, right?
Yeah.
So that's really the difference. Ideas has always been here to drive the hospitality forward, to make a difference. Obviously, in the revenue management, where we want to make sure that there is revenue generation, profitability, performance around revenue. And we keep increasing, not just in the rooms, but as well in the meeting and event spaces, and in, you know, how budgets are done. So we keep expanding, but it's definitely about driving, you know, hospitality, driving this industry forward, and bringing the innovations that are required.
Yeah, and I think doing this type of partner breakfast is we bring the partners to the room, even, you know, if they're competitors. You know, we talk about competitors, you know, cooperation. I love the term cooperation. Where competitors cooperate, because when you collectively are working to solve problems in the space and you talk openly, that's where things really get interesting. That's where the true dynamic innovation happens. And to me, that's super exciting. So I love getting to be a part of those type of conversations and getting in those vibes. Like those are where the magic tends to happen.
Absolutely. And I think there's one area that I think is still very critical for us. It's around standards or open APIs. There's a lot of debates around, you know, I'm Sharon, do you have standards? But where you're seeing a lot of collaboration is with an organization called HCNG, and they are bringing, right, all companies together to discuss, and together, right, whether they're competing or not competing, but together for this industry. Can we find standards? Can we design standards together? So that way, when we do integrations, maybe we don't have to do custom work every time, and we can have something. So there's more conversations that they're driving. But I think that's the right approach. That's really an approach about, you know, being collaborative and making sure that we work together for the best of the industry.
Yeah, I think sometimes, you know, going back to the, you know, the people, process, and systems all need to play. sometimes as humans, we tend to overcomplicate our process in our systems. And how do we create standards that simplify that is huge, because it has an effect. When things are overcomplicated, all you're doing is creating more ways for things to go wrong. Like, we need to keep it
Absolutely.
short and simple, right?
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
how do we go A to B fastest? So I love that. What is, as we look at 2024, we're still early. I guess March coming up on end of Q1.
Yeah.
What are you most excited about this year?
So this year, I think we just announced the partnership with CloudBeds, and that's really exciting for us. It's the first of its kind in terms of partnership, where we'll have CloudBeds work with our system, deliver it, embed it for their client. What's really for me innovative is about how do we democratize revenue management? How do we bring this discipline that really makes a difference? But how do we bring it to the independent hoteliers, so that way they also can make sure that they increase their revenue and they benefit from the best advanced system on a platform that is really innovative as well. So that's super exciting for us this year. Really, really exciting. We can't wait to see how it impacts the hoteliers and how it grows the industry.
Yeah, I think this year is going to be a big year for the industry. A lot of changes, acquisitions, partnerships, things are happening, and it's super exciting.
Super exciting.
It's like every week, what happened this week? Like it is, and that to me is fun. I joke, OmniBoost is a bit crazy, and a lot of us we thrive on solving problems and being solutions oriented, because we're all a little bit of dramatic in the fact that we love that kind of chaos, a little bit of that chaos, because, well, we create process out of chaos. Like, that's one of the things that we love, and I think you have that same vibe and feeling. I think this year is going to be a big year of that. I have a feeling it's going to be a bit of chaos and a lot of really cool solutions coming. So I'm with you. That's what I find most exciting about this year.
I also think it'll be interesting to see what happens for me around groups, right? Meeting spaces. We definitely hear, right, that they're coming back. There will be a growth there. And it'll be interesting to see what really happens. How do they shape up? What kind of groups, not groups? What's the, how they change or not change, right? Since COVID. So I think that would be also a fascinating year for that.
I think so too. And I'm excited about that, because I actually was just talking, and if you're listening to this podcast, go back one. We had an episode with Ralph from Venue Suite, and he was talking about the panel he was on. We were talking about the impact and the change in MICE. And I was like, what is MICE? He's like, well, it's the acronym for meetings and events. And I was like, oh, this is awesome. So just talking with him on what they're doing and that impact. So I love that you share that. And if you're listening to this episode and you're interested in the meetings and event space, take a look at the episode with Ralph from Venue Suite. But I think it's great that you brought that up, because we were just talking about that not too long ago. So it's going to be a crazy year. So what are your goals for the year? What is the thing that, like, you accomplished this personally this year that you're really excited about? You or your team, I should say.
Yeah. So for us, it's we're growing the team. So it's definitely about maintaining, growing, right? The connections that we have, the partnerships that we have. There's also new types of partnerships that we have in store. So bringing different kinds of data into our system, right, and impacting is something that's going to be quite exciting as well. So again, new stuff, new data sources that we haven't used before. So that's going to be quite exciting. And then there's a couple of big partnerships we'll announce as well. So new things, a little different, a little new. So we're excited about that as well. And I can't get too much, right?
Yeah,
but we're definitely working on a lot of stuff.
I was saying, if you're listening to this, you better check in and see what's happening, because it sounds like it's going to be a big year, and you got a lot on your plate. So exciting to see you do that. I love that you share kind of, things that make your year a success, or growing the team, and what does growth look like. I think growth is, it's amazing that there's opportunity for large scale growth, and there's opportunity for these things to happen. And, the partnerships, and we love partnerships. Like, it's easy to talk about partnerships. It's different to be a true partner. And I think the embedded type of things, when we can really align together with key partners and do really cool things, make a big difference. So I'm excited to see. And I know that, talking about the partnership you announced already, CloudBeds and Ideas. So you have a big party tonight.
We have a massive party tonight. Yes. Yeah.
Looking forward to that.
It's 9 p.m., right, which would be great. But the DJ is very famous. I'm told. I didn't know that. So it'll be a lot of dancing.
Okay, so we'll definitely make sure to let the listeners know what how that goes
Yes,
at a
yes.
later date. But I'm excited for the party tonight. Uh, you know, ITV, you've been here for 7 years. Being at trade shows is obviously a big piece of the industry. When you go to a trade show, what is like what? How do you prepare for it, and why is it so important to be at an event like ITV and to be in the ecosystem at events?
So the way I prepare, I lined up all my meetings ahead of time. That's really what I do. But we also look at what can we do at the trade show, and we've done that for the last few years. That continues the conversation.
Yeah.
So we've done some fireside chats yesterday and today, and that's a way to engage with our partners, discuss about trends, would share some information with people that are ITB or that cannot make it to ITB. So that's something we've done as well, very successfully this year. But for me, it's really there's everyone here. There's just everyone and anyone here. So having face-to-face conversations, sometimes it takes an hour on the phone, and it will take 10 minutes
Yeah.
on a face-to-face. So it's fast, it's exciting, but really most of the key people are here that I want to talk to, I want to work with. We develop relationships, and meeting them here is really critical. And it just continues to foster good relationships and deepens the relationships because we don't necessarily see people. We travel, we work globally.
Yeah.
We travel with companies all over the world, and having one place where we can at least once a year meet is really fascinating and critical.
And nothing beats that, the energy of being in a room with somebody across the table or over a microphone. Like you talk about planning out your meets ahead of time, but we set this up literally yesterday afternoon, and here we are the next day almost to the T. Recording an episode again. So
you couldn't do that if you were not at ITV.
No,
it would never be this fast.
You know, you can try to set it up and whatever, but sometimes it's the spur of the moment. It's the fact that it just happens naturally. That's the best conversations, and you know, just walking into it with an open mind and an open heart to just let's talk about what makes us excited, and that to me is what these events are all about. So, Olga, I appreciate having you on. I always like to ask kind of a random question. So, we're in hospitality. We travel a lot. We get to travel for events a lot. Do you have a very like key travel story, whether good or bad, that like sticks out in your mind, or a favorite travel story?
So
or like
I'm
the one you tell over drinks?
I'm gonna tell the travel story that I tend to tell. It's a good one, and it so aligns with what we are talking about earlier about really the guest and making the journey of a guest extraordinary. So I was traveling in Japan. That was probably 2009. I was traveling in Japan, and we had gone with a friend of mine who's Japanese. We were in this beautiful island in the south of Japan that was inspiration for a movie called Princess Mononoke from a designer called Miyazaki. So that was the inspiration. Beautiful, beautiful island, all green, trees that are 1,000 years old. It was fantastic. And the moment that we were about to leave, right, we were staying in a B&B, completely Japanese. We had someone that came and was actually the owner of the B&B, was picking us up and driving us to the airport, right, owner of the B&B. And on the way to the airport, he decided that he was actually going to have a stop by a very spiritual place, which is where all people that are celebrating their ancestors go. So it's really hidden. It was in the forest. It was very magical. A place you would not find if you were not brought by someone
with a local,
with a local person, right? That was like fascinating. And as we're doing this, I'm looking at my clock, and I'm like, but we have a plane to catch, and it looks like it's going to be in 30 minutes. And we're still at the place, right? This beautiful, magical place. But I'm looking at the clock, a little stressed that we have 30 minutes before the plane is meant to depart. So we finally takes the car, and we finally get to the airport, and I'm panicking, right? I mean, the doors are going to close. We arrive, and it was a very small airport. We arrived there, and I saw the flight. I don't even know the flight attendants, but the people managing, obviously, the airport came to us, knew exactly who we were, grabbed our luggage, and said, no worries, go over there. You can just go through the waiting room before your plane departs. They took our luggage. They did all the check-in. We didn't have to do anything. We just went into the room and then on the plane. And that's the best experience about meeting you where you are, right? Like, no questions asked, just you need this, we will do it for you. Do not worry, you can get on your plane. And that was the back to what we're talking about, right? Making the guests feel so welcome and so special. That's one of the best experiences I've ever had.
That's a great story and a great way to end. So I love that. I appreciate that. I mean, Japan's on my bucket list, so I might have to hit you up on some Japan tips.
Happy to.
Olga, how do if people want to get in touch with you, how do they find you? Where can they connect with you on?
They can connect me on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn, Olga Rodriguez, and that's the best way to connect with me.
Excellent. Well, I will make sure to put your LinkedIn link in the show notes. So if you want to talk to Olga, just grab the link, connect with her. She's amazing. Olga, I appreciate you so much for out of nowhere jumping in and sitting down with me today. It is much appreciated.
Thank you. I love it. This was a great conversation. Thank you.
You bet. And to all those out there, that is this episode of Hospitable. If you like this episode, like it, give it a thumbs up, rate, review. We appreciate you. Until next time, stay well.
Bye-bye.